Welcome to the Bitcoin Aggregated podcast. Today, I think this is our third meeting for the School of Bitcoin. There's been a bit of news since last time, I suppose. So we've got the community grant that looks like it's going ahead. So we might have a quick look at that this morning as well. This evening for you, Jack. Basically have a look at the Indonesian PDF that they've put up for theirs that was approved, so we can have a squiz at that. I made one like previously that may be irrelevant now, but I've shared that, so have a squiz at that. Oh, also check out my t-shirt, straight from Elizonte. So literally, there's a guy, one of my friends went over to El Salvador, and he got his phone out on Twitter and bought me, or actually I bought straight from the vendor over the Lightning Network, bought this t-shirt, so it finally rocked up, so I was pretty happy.
Nice one.
Pretty cool. So we'll go through that, and Jill is joining us. So Jill, do you want to introduce yourself and tell everyone how you came in contact with the School of Bitcoin and your story?
Yes. So I listened to you on the podcast. I was totally inspired. I'm a latecomer, I'm afraid, to cryptocurrency, but have been totally converted. So I came at the beginning of last year, which is probably very late to the party, but there's so much still happening and so much to do. I'm a teacher, initially a university lecturer, and my background is actually political science, but I lived in Japan for a long time, so for about 10 years. I speak Japanese, but I've got 4 children, and so I've been a secondary school teacher for the past 12 years, and I live on the Gold Coast, and I recently have been working for the QCAA. So my background for the last year and a bit, my contract was actually to review the Australian curriculum. So I was in a team of 8 people. My specific area is English, but actually in the team of 8, we looked at the whole review of the Australian curriculum, and we've given a Queensland position paper to that. So I think, that's me. Pedagogy is a big passion of mine, and disruptive technology is exciting to me. Even this morning, just listening to the news, I don't know whether you heard it, but just the City Point School is talking about how religious education and gender equality is not being recognized in their school, and disruptive technologies and ways that technology can really change kids' mindset. I was so amazed that a school in Brisbane could actually hit the news by actually saying, we do not do this and our values do not align with this. And gosh, there's such a great world out there with so much happening. People who are closed-minded really should not be in education. Yeah, that's me anyway.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of them, isn't there?
Oh yeah.
That's nice one. You're on the right team then.
Yeah, I was about to say welcome aboard. Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. So we might have a look at the actually, let's have a quick look at it now. I'll just share my screen, and then Jacques has got some really exciting stuff to go through, I think. So I'm pretty pumped about that. See if this comes up. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So there's this one. So these are the guys from Indonesia. It looks pretty straightforward. So I reckon if we could probably just ditch that document I made, really, and maybe save that for like the next grant we go after. But yeah, probably use this as a bit of a template for what we want to do. Obviously, like our milestones will be different, and probably more education focused, and obviously Australian focused as well. But it looks like they're doing events. Like social media member acquisition. So I guess, is Telegram really social media? I don't know. I guess so.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah. All right. So I reckon we go, sort of through this. I'll do up a new doc, and we can start plugging in what we think our milestones should be. Does it sort of sound all right for everyone? And we can do events, online events and that sort of thing as part of it. And Jenny said that she'd help out with us with this as well. So she was pretty cool. That's from the Stacks team. So she said to share the doc with her and she can give her input on sort of how we go. But I mean, it looks pretty straightforward. What did you guys think?
Oh, I've been working on that other doc. I started doing work on that other doc.
Okay.
Grant. So
okay, so there's probably is relevant stuff in there, not just my gibberish. That's good. All right, well, we can consolidate the two then. After this, I'll have a squiz through. The other thing I just wanted to mention quickly was with there's a group out of Spain and Argentina called Kimple. So I had a meeting. It was back and forth trying to find a time that worked because Europe seems to be the hardest to get in contact, like to find times that sort of align to actually meet up. So it was about a month before we could actually have a meeting. But basically they reached out to me, just Googled me, I suppose, because they wanted to integrate some blockchain education into their platform. So they've given me some login deets and they said you guys can jump in and have a squiz as well. But basically they're creating a platform where, from what I can understand, it's teacher centric. So maybe doesn't align that well to what we're doing because we're sort of more student centric, or learner centric, should I say. But potentially there could be some way to collaborate or even use the platform. So I've only just logged in and set up my profile, but it looks pretty interesting. Like it's basically topics that you can run for classrooms that you can sort of just pick out and run wherever you are in the world, sort of thing. I did find the translation wasn't 100% for a bit of it, so that might be something we look at. But if you guys get time, jump in and have a look. So that was Kimble, and then at some point, if we can manage the time difference, I'll get him to jump in and we can run through some stuff together. So that was that. Then what was the other thing? Oh yeah, just one thought that came to me based off that, because there's a few things in here that sort of have video and then there's some text-based stuff. And just like the way a lot of students sort of learn now, and even the way I kind of prefer to learn is like watching video content as opposed to text-based learning. And I thought maybe is that something we think about at some point for this project, and we don't have to do either. It's just something that I thought might be worth thinking about. I don't know. Like, how do you guys sort of view the medium changing around? Yeah, if you look at podcasting in particular, like a lot of people sort of gravitate towards that rather than consuming media by sort of reading nowadays. And is that something we take into consideration to be sort of future focused?
I think so, because there's a big push at the moment amongst accountants, my reference, to do their CPD by podcast, by listening, because they can do it when they're driving or exercising, and so people are consuming educational material in different environments. Perhaps having a video or podcast accompanied by a transcript for those who like to sort of speed read or listen at 2 times the speed and skim.
Yeah.
So that's a great point to raise, having that flexible offering if we're up to it. What do others think?
Yeah, we're not teachers, but Electra and I, working through with the accountants on the crypto experiential tour, we're finding, and even just teaching basics for Bitcoin, you've got all different people at different levels. So we're going, well, we think we should produce a video that they can watch first, and then they can come along. They've either got questions, or it just gives them that advantage of, catching up with the pack, I guess, because not everyone's going to get it straight away.
Yeah, we found it hard with people at different stages. It's quite hard to manage. So providing the opportunity for the people who are sort of slower or a different type of learner or at a different stage, that's a use for a video too. What do you think, Jill? You're a teacher.
Yeah, increasingly, I love what you said about consuming education in different environments, because there's the creator and the consumer, and they do need to still get the explicit instruction, but there needs to be that differentiation for them to be able to consume, to be able to hopefully then create. And I think increasingly the mind is being conditioned in a different manner. So podcasts, yes, and that visual element and that instructional element, other than just maybe the instructor in front of them, the idea of, you know, rewind, pause, take in, and go fast forward. It's much more of a like you said, a learner centric, and the autonomy and the control in the learner's sort of fingertips is the sort of the age of where we're at, and moving forward increasingly so. Yeah.
Yeah, which is what we're trying to do, right?
Yes.
Yeah. This may fly in the face of what you're about to present, Jacques, with this video content, but yeah, I thought it was just something interesting to have a discussion on anyway.
Yep, everyone get good at video.
Yeah. I just saw something called, you might have already known about it, Loom. Have you heard of this? I think a lot of like tech companies are using it for like, it's a way for them to kind of do walkthroughs, and they can also record their faces. They kind of like teach as they're walking through it. Yeah, so that looked really interesting along the same lines as video learning.
Is this the one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
I haven't.
I've had experience with that, Jacques. So a couple of teachers are actually doing Loom videos. A couple of science teachers have done it very, very effectively, and then they're putting it up on their little, well, not little, but their learning management systems for the students, particularly with the online learning. It's I've noticed it over the past 6 months has been very popular.
Love Loom. Use it every day.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sending emails. Send a Loom video.
Awesome.
Wow.
That might be something to look at then. Very cool. The other 2 points I had was just the lot of Satoshi guys. Did we reach out to them at all? Gordon, you probably know better than anyone.
Oh, no, I haven't as yet. I can do so.
No worries. No worries. And then the white paper, yeah, Electra, thanks for your input on that. I think that's really helpful. Yeah, I think we probably need to whittle it down some more. And Jill, you can probably help as well.
Yeah.
So I'll share it with you. Basically, I think it's a bit bloated, and I've got too many crazy ideas in there. So we probably need to like get it down to like what the core ideas are that we all kind of agree upon on that. So I'm open to changing everything basically. And then the last point I just wanted to know was the Haro wallet stuff. Did we figure that out in the end, Gordon?
I haven't even gone back to Binance to see if see where our stacks are.
Binance.
I need to definitely do that this week.
No stress.
So has everyone downloaded a Haro wallet?
Yeah.
Jill, have you got a Stacks wallet?
I am no, but I will get one.
Sure. So on the Stacks website, there's a wallet called the Haro wallet.
Yes.
So it's a browser-based wallet.
Yep.
So just like a MetaMask, you've used MetaMask?
Yes, I have a MetaMask and Firefly. I've got a number of wallets, but I haven't got this one, so I will do this.
So the Haro just sits up there on your browser.
Yes.
What we do is at the Digital Playhouse, we encourage people just to keep all their wallets on the one browser, so a Brave browser.
Yes, I've got a Brave browser. That's what I do.
Then it's just easy to keep track of, because you go and set one up on Google, you set one up on this one, and set one up on that one. You got new seed words everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, it gets crazy, doesn't it? Have you got a ledger as well, Jill?
I don't. I should, huh?
We'll have to get you one for sure. Because it integrates with that. So I haven't played with that yet, but we should.
Okay, that's good. I'll do that after the call.
Yeah, we'll give you a link to CoinStop. You can get a 5% discount.
Okay, thank you.
And you want to get a Ledger X.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Not a Ledger S. It'll take a few weeks to come, because they come direct from the factory.
Or both.
All right.
I reckon it's worth getting both, because I use my Ledger S because it fits on your keyring, and then the X is like more robust, so you can do more stuff with it. So
Okay.
I reckon it's
Okay.
worth
Yeah.
Thank you.
That'd
be great.
Cool. All right. So have you got sharing rights, Jacques? I'll just see.
I was actually thinking, I'm just gonna, I kind of want to run through it at a high level. Just,
Okay,
I don't want to
sure.
too much into it, but just kind of like, I want to share where my thoughts are coming from with, specifically with like the Stacks grant and the roadmap, just to get some initial feedback.
Yeah.
Because I mean, honestly, like with me coming from Chicago and sitting in on the last call, I'm like, well, yeah, Stacks Australia, this is cool, but I don't want to offer too much input because I've never even been to Australia. So
Well,
I don't think it's yeah, not necessarily my place. I was always a big Steve Irwin fan, but I think the most value that I could provide would be just like kind of like supporting with like an outline that you all can kind of like add in your expertise about the communities that you've all been building. You're all in education. You've all been, I mean, just building communities around cryptocurrency and blockchain in Australia, which has been really cool to learn more about. So that's kind of how I want to come in with this. So the curriculum that I kind of put up on GitHub before is really an adaptation of how I've been wanting to work with brands and help them create DAOs for themselves. So it's like helping them, just saying like, this is like, it's a 9-point outline, and then people can just inject their perspectives in different areas and kind of view their ideas from 9 different perspectives. So when I was, and again, thinking from this as like from a Stacks Australia perspective, more so than a School of Bitcoin perspective, I wanted to see how we can use like the School of Bitcoin as like a model for how Stacks Australia will look the most enticing for Stacks Foundation. So like when we were speaking last, it seemed like a recurring theme where Stacks Foundation, the folks there, they really wanted to see like, okay, how can we maximize the number of downloads of their wallet? That seemed like the number one thing that they wanted out of this. And then also like the metric, I mean, after they download the wallet, another key metric that they track is how many actual connections there are to Stacks applications. So I feel if the School of Bitcoin can then come in and say, okay, we're going to show the model that we have in place, and we're going to highlight it with like the Stacks Foundation's key goals. So I think it would be really cool if we could figure out how to, one, see how we can create a use the outline in any way that makes sense to form up some type of DAO, to say, okay, what does it look like? How do we go through the steps of creating a decentralized autonomous education system? And as we work through that, have that become a course within the School of Bitcoin, and also something that the Stacks Foundation can use and say, okay, Stacks Australia created this model. You can literally go and you can follow their course along. And then as you go through that, then you can create your Stacks branch in whatever city you may be in. So I really see that if we're able to use like the model that you all already had in place for creating a decentralized autonomous education system, creating decentralized curriculums for folks, I think this could be a really cool opportunity to further the trajectory for the School of Bitcoin, while also just like fulfilling the different needs of the Stacks Foundation. And then so like once that's in place, I think a really cool way for us to go through this is if we have a number of video content of us working through how to create this the days, and we have a like a kind of a backlog of video content, if we can use that as like a proof of work. So that could essentially be like, okay, yeah, these are literally videos, like Bitcoin uses electricity to mine, but we can use our time, our conversation, our perspectives, and our values to basically be the proof of work for what it takes to create a decentralized autonomous education system. And then like again, I just kind of want to throw these ideas out there, and I'll put this in a document that we can kind of tool with layer, however you all think. But if we can put that together in a specific way, like the video content and the actual responses that you all provide, we can turn that into an actual NFT. Then that certificate can basically show that a person went through the steps and they learned how to create decentralized autonomous education system. And then this could really fit into, like, that NFT could fit into what everything that Kieran already put together. I mean, you already have the whole project work through. I mean, like the workflow of how it all works. So I think this could be potentially a way to plug into that.
Yeah.
And then once we have something like that in place, I mean, I'm going through the Clarity universe right now to learn about, like, specifically to develop NFTs. I think if we could create a very simple minting application, and then we could, one, create a course to, like, show people, okay, this is how you download the Hyrule wallet, to be really simple. And then the next step in the course could be, okay, now you can come over and you can download, you can purchase with the wallet a like the Stacks or like the School of Bitcoin curriculum NFT or anything like that. So, like, clearly going through that, I mean, I think that would be a really great value add for Stacks, again, for them to be like, okay, we're gonna want to put a lot of resources here, because we could show them the steps we took to build the NFT minting application with Clarity. That could be another course. Show people how to build, how to download the Hyrule wallet. That's just like, they can direct so many people from all over to the School of Bitcoin's resources. Yeah. And that would be more and more people coming through and be, okay, this is how I get the Hyrule wallet. Of course, you can do it from the website, but like you were saying, if we had video content and something different than just going to their website, reading through their documentation, I think that'd be a really big value add for us and for them. And then ultimately, people can come through and purchase an NFT. That could help fundraising for School of Bitcoin, and then that would, again, be another metric on Stack's website. They could show how many more connections they have. So those were my initial thoughts. So just like walking people through, making sure I can help you guys get towards what you're already working towards, and then making sure we're tracking what is important for Stacks.
I think that's awesome. So are you thinking that after each course that you run through, like, there's an NFT minted for that, specifically to say that you've achieved whatever course it is that you've just gone through, sort of thing? Because I kind of like that.
I was kind of thinking that. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how it would be structured. It could potentially where the courses are open for anyone, and I've done some courses on Coursera before, where you can choose to do them for free, but then you can also pay to show certification. So maybe people go through any of these. So, like, okay, I'm gonna go through this course to see how I can create my own DAO, create my own decentralized autonomous education system. Maybe they don't need to buy the NFT, but they can still learn all the steps to do it. But then if they want to be able to say, I actually went through this, we have the project that I have up on my GitHub, and here's the app that I created for mine. And then I also bought the NFT because this shows that actually this is my certificate for going through. So.
Yeah, so a MOOC essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I really like that. And I think that would resonate with a lot of people, particularly in the Stacks community. That's awesome. Yeah, I think if we can, do we integrate that into this grant application, or is that another application, or is elements of that we do for both, I suppose? Wouldn't there be?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how you worked through it with them. It seems like this could be in this grant application, because it could be like, okay, we can kind of list it all out, and then whatever makes sense to the team, we can kind of layer in dates. Maybe some of these dates, this could be like, we can break it up into phases where, okay, they can provide funding for this first chunk where it's something that we're kind of getting things going, and then like different and separate phases. And I think if we can present this as an ongoing narrative and timeline, I think that could potentially, I mean, I think, was his name Luis?
Yeah.
the gentleman from Stacks.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like he really wants to bring in some creative ideas. And I think if we can have like a longer comprehensive list, he can kind of give us some ideas about how to group it strategically to kind of maximize the benefit for both parties potentially.
Yeah, I liked him. He seemed to have some cool, wacky ideas. I think he'll definitely do that. I love it. I love that. What does everyone else think? You're muted, Gordon.
Yeah, I'm not much of a tokeometrics guy, so it's like it's a bit over my head. You're it's like setting up the original DAO with the voting, with your, you know, once you get your course done and you have tokens to vote on. So it's yeah, I'd have a bit to learn between those two differences. So yeah, keep rolling. I'll be in the background.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think one of the things that I really wanted to highlight is just that, like, I mean, right along with the School of Bitcoin, like Digital Playhouse, everything you've all been doing, I think it would just, more than anything, I want to see how to layer in like the ethos of all of that. And then you build like all of your experience in education, just how can we kind of like structure it in a way where it really just like everything that you all are doing just comes to the surface, that it really embodies everything that Stacks Australia is. Because I don't, and this is something that I don't fully understand, is like, you know, the School of Bitcoin would exist either way. And it sounds like Stacks Australia is something that comes in outside of that. So like, I don't know like the exact relationship between the two. But yeah, those, I think I'm done talking for now, but.
That's correct. I think that they are two different, or they could have been two different scenarios, but the way you've described it, that blending the two into building the communities. Yeah, I mean, you got to build, we don't have to build the community the same way as Indonesia have. We can build the community in a different way. At the end of the day, they want wallets, they want tokens, they want stacks moving around, and they want people developing projects. So that's what's important to the blockchains.
Well, and the other aspect is that Australia is sort of well renowned as for being like the education country. So it kind of it makes sense to have it connected, I think, sort of as a international project that attracts people to the platform. But yeah, I really love it. I think the idea of a MOOC, and it's something I think a lot of people can wrap their head around, because, and Jill, you've probably seen a lot of MOOC stuff online. Like you can
absolutely
jump and do like anything from Harvard, and like you said, you can pay once you're done. Like that makes so much more sense. And that's where I was stuck a bit, actually, thinking about it, like with building out on the Lightning Network, which I still think has merit, and I think we should pursue that at some point. But it's not inclusive. So it's like, well, I've got all this content, but you have to have Lightning tokens to be able to read whatever it is or view stuff. It's kind of, it makes it tough for, you know, students, or particularly like students from, say, Warana Park Primary School, that, you know, their parents might not be able to afford to go and pay for stuff or whatever, but you want to have it as open as possible so people can run through it. So I love that. I reckon, yeah, let's get the ball rolling and start writing it up. And I think we could probably still use the Indonesian template just to see how they've kind of structured it, but then just plug in our own ideas into that, and take whatever you've written, Gordon, and plug it into that, into a new document as well. So that'll be good. Awesome. Cool. All right. So what's the next steps with that? Do you reckon, Jacques? Do you reckon do a Google Doc and we'll start writing it up? And
yeah. So like I've got it basically like a lot of the steps written out. But I'm sure there are a lot of gaps in there. So like if anyone wants to fill things in, feel free to take things out. It's really just meant to be an outline. And then I think just filling in some dates that seem realistic for some of this. And kind of like what you were saying, Gordon, like, yeah, like I've spent a lot of time on thinking about how to like structure DAOs and stuff like that. So I think if anything, we can kind of have like multiple tracks that are running for us. So maybe I can focus more on some of those ends, and then the other aspects that relate more to what you're all mainly focused on. We can kind of see how we can have some concurrent lines going there, and then we can get input from stacks to see like which ones we should kind of put most energy in, and kind of see where it goes from there.
Sounds good. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, maybe I'll just put this into the document you already started then, Kieran. Does that make sense then?
Yeah, sure thing.
Okay. Okay.
I suppose the other thing we need to think about as well is with the grants, and Gordon and Electra, you're probably all over this, but how we actually accept the stacks tokens like for the School of Bitcoin and like allocate them, and do we do like the Michael Saylor sort of model and don't sell any of them? We use them as a DAO for the school, and yeah, sort of borrow against them if we need to or something like that. But you guys have probably had more experience actually trying to set that sort of thing up in Australia. So what are your thoughts?
Well, we haven't actually had the experience of doing it, but we've had some experience thinking about it.
Thinking about it,
yeah. About what's possible. We've chatted about it. Yeah, well, I guess we're wondering where things would be held, what entity they would be held in, and where the records are to be tracked. It's
tricky.
Yeah, I mean, we've got an organisation that could be used. That, you know, but soon hopefully we have a PBI. It's this close with ASIC at the moment. We're not sure if that's the appropriate vehicle, but it may be a charity that's in line with what we're kind of doing here in its mission. That could be, I guess, a launch pad for a DAO when there are more regulations around DAOs in Australia, which are expected to be forthcoming this year with the Bragg report. So So
well, that's what I'm excited about, like actually running the program as a DAO as well. So like specifically, so we don't have, so it's not owned by anybody.
Well, that's the idea, but can it be DAO'd straight away? I don't have experience with that, and I don't know if DAOs are really happening in Australia yet, or do we do a phone DAO? I don't know.
Well, that was my thinking as well, because like School of Bitcoin is obviously going to be an international thing. So it doesn't have to be in Australia. Like if Australia is not coming to the party and they don't want innovation here, well, fine. It can be.
Well, they're taking a long time and they hold us up.
Yeah, which is, it's silly, really. Like it's kind of like everything that at my school, like building the learning space is like a microcosm of the broader bureaucracy in Australia, I think. It's just sad, really sad.
Well, I think there's a couple of things. Stacks were encouraging that, yes, you do create a stacking pool. So in other words, keeping your stacks and getting those to join in to grow that community. I'd like that. That'd be cool. That's obviously one of the big parts of it. I think you do need to run a Michael Saylor type sustainable model. Otherwise, you're just always going to be out there looking for money. That's right. If you're if you're stacking or staking or whatever it be, well, and the other I think that is the way to go.
The other thing with that model, Gordon, which I really like, is like the idea, and you kind of said this as well, Jacques, like working on different projects, and you sort of put your energy into different projects. I think from a student, imagine if you're a student now, and you can literally own a piece of the school that you're attending. Like that would be so cool that, it's something that no one would ever think of years ago, but it's possible like nowadays. So I think that's something that's really, I think would be really exciting. So it's like you run through this course, obviously it's to get your NFT at the end of it. And it's like, this NFT means I own a little piece of that school that I've just attended. Like that would be so cool. So I think that's something that we need to maybe articulate as well.
I ask a question. Sorry, because I'm obviously coming in as new, so I hope that I'm not asking questions that have already maybe been discussed. But marketing wise, to get the message out to students and schools, have you discussed sort of that marketing, that outreach and connection already?
No. Not at all.
When I was just listening to everybody talk, one of the things that's quite popular here on the Gold Coast, I know it's local, but they do attract quite a well-known crowd of entrepreneurs, is the Entrepreneur Festival at one of the local schools. And they've had some amazing speakers. So they've got some very wide contacts because they've run a celebration of literature, which has been very well connected to publishers across Australia. They actually set up a few years ago the celebration of entrepreneurship. And I don't know whether any of you have heard of Somerset College, but they've reached out to people like, you know, the Orange Sky, people who did the washing for the homeless. They've taken that internationally. So they came and spoke to the kids. The lady who's done the blockchain with the diamonds, she's Australian. She lives in London at the moment. She was Queenslander of the Entrepreneur of the, yes, I can't think of her name, but she came and spoke to the kids.
Leanne Kemp.
Yes, correct. They had the gaming people from up in UQ and QUT. There's a lot of work being done in the research and also the entrepreneurial sort of development of games. So they had that set up. And what they do is they do a week of the best speakers on entrepreneur work being delivered at the school, and they invite, obviously they invite the public in as well, but the kids very much take ownership, and they will actually manage and coordinate the speakers. So I wondered, obviously, down the track and maybe perhaps within the grant with regards to outreach, not just with this school, but whether or not there were opportunities for other organisations that look at maybe celebration of entrepreneurship as to those ideas of, you know, owning a piece of the school, because it is so innovative and so inspirational. And I just think something like that would be lovely to put in as a marketing sort of approach in the grant. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. That sounds like a really smart idea, for sure. Yeah. We did run at my school a student-led conference, something similar.
Yes.
And we got it like a big. It's been like we did like 4 in a row, which were really successful, but very similar. Getting speakers in, the kids ran it, and it was it's pretty powerful when they run their own programs like that. So I think, reaching out to them would be a great idea. I know, well, Gordon, you mentioned something about Bloomberg as well in the Keybase chat.
Just one of the reporters from Bloomberg reached out to us. I've just got the email there. I haven't replied to it yet. That was just a follow up in regards to the school to the Australia's first digital currency town project. So yeah, hopefully we'll have her online. If I've got to bring you in as well, we'll see what she's doing.
Sure thing. No, that sounds good.
Yeah, we might get some Bloomberg press this week.
Yes.
That'll be awesome. And the other thing is the Nigerian conference. That's really exciting. So Gordon put me in touch with some guys running a conference in Nigeria around Bitcoin specifically. So I'm officially on the bill for that. So that's going to be pretty awesome.
That's sponsored by Wallet of Satoshi.
Oh, is it? Okay. Oh, awesome.
That's how I sort of came across it. I went, oh, that looks good.
Very cool.
And the young guy that's running it, he's got an education piece that he's written, which is pretty cool. And his ideals are to really educate and
cool.
Immerse it I'll drop it in that.
Drop it in. Oh, that's good. Well, that actually might be cool to reach out to him, see if he wants to contribute.
I thought along that journey where he's obviously getting his conference ready at the moment, but I'm pretty sure he'll be a contributor. I think he owns an exchange over there.
Okay, cool. Very cool. That's awesome. Oh, this has been great. Thanks heaps, guys, for jumping in. Shall we do a like a regular time? Should I schedule that so we can? Is this time good for everybody?
It is for me.
Yep.
All right, I'll do that, and I'll remove the Google one. We'll keep it to Zoom.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Oh, thanks heaps, guys. I'll post this up. I'll post the notes to Substack, and then we'll start. Working on the doc, and I'll maybe by the end of the week, if we can get something, and I'll share it with Jenny, and then we'll meet up next week same time and discuss.
So which doc are we going to be working on then?
That's a good question. So where did you just paste your stuff, Jacques?
I didn't paste it in yet.
Okay.
Have we got is that in the Digital Playhouse School of Bitcoin doc file, or?
I've invited Jill into that.
Oh, Thank you.
Is that where we're saving everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in that shared folder, I'll just have a look. So we've got a lot of documents already, don't we? A lot of stuff. I see. Yeah, so you just edited that way. Oh yeah, well let's just keep it all to that same first document that we had. Hang on, I'll show you this one. Chat. Keep it to that one, and we'll just edit and chop out stuff and chuck things in, and then we can mirror that up with the
So Kieran, just on that there, are we going to be combined, because that original doc was really for funding for the project, whereas now we're going really for a Stacks chapter?
Yeah. I think it's
I mean, that's pretty much where Stacks have guided us. They wanted us to get a chapter going first by the looks.
yeah.
If we want to play with Stacks, that seems to be what they want us to do.
Yep. So I've copied that one. So that document I've just pasted, I've copied that to keep it as Stacks grant development application. So we have it, so we can just delete whatever's not relevant out of that document and it doesn't matter. So anything that you put in there, great, but we can just work on that one document and we can mirror it up to the Indonesian one. I think that's the best way to go. Does that kind of make sense? Is that
Yeah, sure.
We got too many documents going on here.
So if we know where to look, let's just sort of message each other, comment in the document, and it pulls us to the document.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go. So yeah, we'll focus on that, and then once we get this down, it'd be good to actually do, and I'll share with you, Jill. I actually have it now, the white paper. So going through that.
Yes.
But we can do that, I think, after this community grants application, and so go from there. Awesome. All right. Well, I've got to skedaddle, but thanks everybody, and we'll catch up next week.
All right.
Right.
Lovely to meet you all. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for coming. Bye.